In this video we're going to create a user control in a visual web part in Visual Studio. So here we have my user control, and I can drag and drop controls from the toolbox to the source view. However, I can switch to split or design view and see my graphical design surface. From there I can select my controls and use, let's say, the properties window to set the text property of this label to Hello World. Then very simply I can right click my project and choose deploy, and Visual Studio will package and deploy my web part up to my SharePoint server. I can then switch to Internet Explorer and browse to my SharePoint site, and after a few seconds the home page appears, and I can then go to a web part page. So I have a test page here called Bonneville Testbed and it's blank. I can switch to edit mode and then click insert web part, and then I will locate my custom web part in the custom category, and it's called Bonneville. A few simple clicks and I've added my web part to the page, and I've saved the page, and there we have our very simple traditional Hello World message. Now let's switch back to Visual Studio and make this a little bit more compelling. So I'll delete my label, and from the navigation pane in the toolbox I will add a tree view control. So you can see that I've added it to the design surface, but it's also been added to the markup, and I can set properties in either the markup or in the properties window. So I'll say that the tree view control is called site structure. Now let's view the code behind file for this control, and I'm just going to drag and drop some pre-written code that I have to the page load. Now let's have a look at the code. The first thing I do is instantiate a SP web object called thisWeb. Then I can start building up my tree view. So I first of all will set the thisWeb object to spcontext.current.web, and from there I can start extracting the properties of the web object, such as its title and its URL. So I will use those in the tree node. I add my tree node to the tree, and then I can start iterating through the lists in the website. So we have a simple for each sp list in this web.lists. Now within my loop I can refer to each individual list by my list variable, and extract things like its title and default view URL, again for use in the tree view. I can also then do the same thing for the subweb. So I have my function called add webs, and I'm just going to add the pre-written code to save me typing it out, but it's very simple code again. We have each subweb in the web has its title and URL, and we'll build a tree view off that. And the same thing for the lists. So we're adding the list title and list view URL. Now for each subweb they may also have a subweb as well, so we will recursively call add webs. I can right click my project again and click deploy, and when I switch back to Internet Explorer and refresh the page, my new web part is rendered. So that's how simple it is to deploy from Visual Studio. It takes a few seconds to refresh the page because we've just recycled the application pool by redeploying. Now when the page refreshes we can see we have our tree view. So I can start expanding, and we have our intranet root web with all of the lists that we iterated through, each with their own tree node, and if I were to click one we go straight to that URL. Remember we exited the default view URL for each list. And then we have the first subweb in our intranet site, which is project management. It also has its own lists, and again we can navigate directly to them very, very simply by clicking on the tree view control that we've built. Project management also has a subweb called financials, and we iterated through this with the recursive call to add webs, and we've documented all of the lists in that announcements website, in the financials website. So it has its own lists like announcements and shared documents and so forth.